It was a cold, wet November evening when 6-year-old Elijah was left alone at the bus terminal, a threadbare backpack clutched tightly to his chest and confusion shadowing his innocent eyes. His parents had told him they were going on a trip, that they'd be right back after buying tickets. But minutes turned to hours, and hours to a full day before a station worker finally noticed the quiet boy sitting alone on the bench, too frightened to cry. When authorities searched for his parents, they discovered the cruel truth: Elijah had been deliberately abandoned. No names, no relatives, no note, just a scared child and a bag filled with a few clothes, a toy car, and a cracked photo of a family that no longer wanted him. He was sent to St. Mary's Home for Children, where the staff gently tried to coax him out of his shell. He didn't speak for 3 days, and when he finally did, it was only to ask if someone had found his parents. The answer broke him, but it didn't destroy him. Elijah became a quiet observer, kind-hearted and gentle, always helping the younger children tie their shoes or comforting them when they cried. But despite his good nature, families looking to adopt often overlooked him, choosing the babies or more outgoing kids instead. Rejection became a silent companion, but so did resilience. He found peace in the corners of the shelter's dusty library, losing himself in stories of adventure, science, and invention. Books became his parents, knowledge his comfort. By age 14, Elijah was repairing broken toys and eventually helping fix the shelter's aging computers, teaching himself coding from old manuals. He rarely spoke of his past, but it was clear he was building a future with each line of code, each problem solved. The staff at St. Mary's began to take notice of his intelligence, though few could have predicted what would happen next. Just weeks before his high school graduation, Elijah was summoned to the office and handed an envelope. Inside was a letter offering him a full scholarship to a top engineering university, funded by an anonymous donor. For the first time in his life, someone believed in him. And so, with nothing but a suitcase and dreams stitched together from pain and persistence, Elijah left the only home he'd ever known, a path that would one day shock the world. 20 years had passed since Elijah had last slept on a bunk bed at St. Mary's Home for Children. But the memories never left him, memories of loneliness, of small victories, of building himself from broken pieces. Now 32, Elijah Brooks was a name known in global tech circles, a visionary engineer, a self-taught inventor, and the mind behind Kinetica D, a revolutionary learning device powered by motion and sunlight, designed to bring education to remote and underserved areas around the world. But success had never been his true goal. His purpose was always to ensure that no child ever felt as forgotten as he once had. That's why, when Elijah returned to St. Mary's, it wasn't for a camera crew or applause. It was to unveil something deeply personal. Where a weed-choked yard had once been, now stood the Elijah Brooks Learning Center, a sleek solar-powered building filled with tools, books, computers, and 3D printers, all designed to teach children the skills that had once saved him. The children, curious and unafraid, gathered around him with questions, while staff members watched in awe at how far he'd come. But the biggest shock came when a quiet letter arrived at his office a month later from a woman claiming to be his mother. She'd seen his story in the news and wanted to meet. Elijah wrestled with the request, but ultimately agreed. They met in a quiet cafe, a world apart from that rainy bus station decades earlier. His mother, older, frailer, and remorseful, apologized through tears, revealing the struggles that led to their decision, none of which justified what they did. Elijah listened, not out of obligation, but out of closure. And when she asked for forgiveness, he replied with a softness that stunned her. "I already did years ago. Not for you, but for me. I had to let go to move forward." He paid for her tea, gave her a photo of the learning center, and walked away, his past finally laid to rest. Elijah's life had come full circle. The boy once left behind had become the man who reached back, and as he stood once again at the gates of St. Mary's, watching a new generation of children run, build, and dream, he knew his greatest invention wasn't a